So I want to begin today. I want to come back to this thing called Mother. You know, Mother's Day is an interesting holiday because for some, it generates joy and tremendous gratitude. And for others, despair, longing, disappointment, grief, and even anger. And so I just invite all of us, wherever you are, as you think about your own mother, as you think about you being a mother in this life, just placing your hands over your heart. I just want us to just take a moment to just feel whatever is there for you. We're just going to honor that. Just surrounding it all with great love and light. Just filling your being, your heart. Just honoring whatever is there for you on this day. And breathing in through your heart and out through your heart. Breathing in through your heart and out through your heart. And now bring into your awareness all of the mothers across this planet. All the mothers. And all the energy around this thing called Mother's Day. And all the emotions that it brings up for so many. We hold space for all. So right here, in this sanctuary, in this community of beloved beings, we hold space, not only for ourselves, but for all mothers. For all those who in one way, shape, or form is a mother in this life. And we just hold space for all of the emotion, for all of the feelings, for all that is there. Breathing in through our heart and out through our heart. And just sending love to every mother, every divine person on this planet. For today we are indeed honoring the divine feminine. We honor all. And so gently opening your eyes, just feeling that love. Thank you. Thank you. So, my focus today is indeed honoring the divine feminine. But not as a gender, as a principle. Awakening the divine feminine within all of us. You know, the divine feminine was once revered, greatly revered in our culture. We speak of figures like Mary Magdalene, Isis, Kali, Sophia, Mother Mary, and Gaia. And there was a time when the world was goddess-full. And the earth was the mother, and the divine feminine was seen as the origin of all things. She was revered for her strength, for her power, for her courage, for her wisdom, for her heart, for her love. And then over time, the divine feminine was seen as a threat. Her temples were destroyed. Her scriptures were banished and even rewritten. The feminine was recast as a threat, as evil, as weakness. And the God that was created in her place was a God of separation, a God of power and control, good and bad, right and wrong. I think that this suppression has affected all of us. Whether we identify as female or not, it's affected all of us. because it's disconnected us. It's disconnected us from nature. It's disconnected us from our intuition. It's disconnected us from our creativity. It's disconnected us from our inner world and from our connection to one another. And I don't know about you, but I think people are tired of feeling disconnected. Yeah? Tired of feeling disconnected from their heart, from their inner world. People are craving silence. People are craving rest. People are craving intimacy and connection. Do you feel that? The feminine, the divine feminine is returning. There is a rise of it in our culture now. Now, it doesn't mean returning to goddess worship necessarily, although that's not such a bad thing. But that's not what it's about. It's about remembering. It's about remembering a lost way of being, and it impacts all of us. Whether you are male or female, gender really doesn't matter here. So the divine feminine actually has never left. It has always been here because it's part of our collective spiritual inheritance. And so the divine, when we are connected to our divine feminine, we are embracing our intuition. We are embracing our emotion. You know, in our culture, so many of these things have been judged. How many of us have been told we're too sensitive? You're too sensitive. You're too emotional. So some of these things have been given a bad rap, yeah? Do you know the divine feminine honors that deeply feeling our emotions is not a flaw, but it's a strength. It's a strength. And so the divine feminine is also about honoring not the God out here, but the God in here. The sacred that lives within all of us, every single one of us. She lives in our creative urges. She lives in our wild ideas. She lives in our passions. I'm assuming every person here has some passion, at least one. And when you are in touch with that, and when you are expressing that, you are in touch with the divine feminine. When you have that intuitive sense about something, you are in touch with the divine feminine. When you are allowing yourself to feel and be present to the emotion that's there, you are in touch with the divine feminine. You know, she lives in our desire to speak our truth, to no longer tolerate separation, to no longer tolerate hate, to no longer tolerate injustice. This is the divine feminine. And she is speaking loudly now, isn't she? Yes. Marion Woodman, she was a Jungian analyst. She said this: the divine feminine is not a privilege of women. It is the soul of the world trying to come into consciousness. The soul of the world trying to come into consciousness. If you tune in, you can feel that. There's a lot going on in our world, but that is also happening. Can you feel that? Sense it, even if just the tiniest bit? You know, Ernest Holmes, our founder, he talked about the divine feminine slightly differently. He referred to God as both the heavenly Father and the cosmic mother of all. The cosmic mother of all. He taught us about the law. And the law is this receptive intelligence that just receives. It just receives. Whatever we plant into it, it receives. He called the law by many names, but one that fits for today's service, he called it the universal feminine or the holy womb. The holy womb. He called the law the holy womb. Why did he call it that? Because the holy womb receives. It receives whatever we plant into it. So if you are focusing on something that's missing in your life or something that's not working in your life and you continue to focus on that, the holy womb just says, yes, okay. I will continue to give you what it is that you continue planting into my womb, into the law. The holy womb isn't there to judge. There is no judgment. It's just there to receive. That's it. You know, science of mind is not a philosophy of willpower or force. It is a philosophy of receptivity. Receptivity. And that is what the divine feminine is all about. It's a philosophy of trust and co-creativity. We get to co-create with Spirit. We are not alone in this. Thank God for that. So this energy, we are all learning to embody this thing called the divine feminine in combination with the divine masculine. The divine feminine in a man isn't about becoming less masculine. It's about bringing in and learning to integrate both the divine feminine and the divine masculine so that there can be wholeness, the experience of wholeness for all of us. So the fully realized being encompasses both the divine feminine and the divine masculine. We are both then active and receptive, rational and intuitive, strong and tender. We are meant to express both energies in our life. It's what creates balance. Last week I traveled to Arizona to visit some girlfriends. I went to Phoenix first and then up to Sedona. Had a wonderful time. And on the shuttle back from Sedona to Phoenix, I don't know if you've ever done that, but it's a 2.5 hour shuttle ride. Yeah, and so we left Sedona and we stopped at different places to pick up some other people. And we stopped at the AM/PM market. And a guy got on the shuttle, big guy, sleeves cut off, tattoos all the way down his arms. He had a hot dog in one hand and a big gulp in the other, and then he had a coffee somehow. I don't know how he was carrying all of this, but he gets on the shuttle and he sits right next to me. And we're cruising down the road, and as we get into the drive a little bit further, he starts talking to me. I had my sunglasses on. He had his sunglasses on, and he starts opening up and sharing with me. And he said, "You know, I just got out of prison." And so I took my sunglasses off. I wanted to, not because he said that, but I just wanted to connect with him. Yeah. And then, interestingly enough, he took his off too. And he said, "You know, I've been out for a month. I grew up in Texas. I lived on a farm, a ranch, with all kinds of animals. I had 10 brothers and sisters. And my dad trained us and taught us that if anybody looks at you wrong or messes with you, you mess with them right on back." And he said, "That's gotten me in a lot of trouble because I've done 3 different sentences for a total of 13 years, all for assault." So he said, "You know, I realized I got to get my mind right. I got to get my mind right." So I knew I had to leave Texas. I had to leave the place. I had to leave the people. I had to leave it all and come here. And I'm on this shuttle because I had no money, but my friend gave me a little money, said, "You can get on the groom shuttle and it'll take you to Phoenix." Because that's where the rehab facility was that he was headed to. And so he said, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to stay in there for 6 months to get my mind right. And he talked about this woman who he was connected to, who's now his coach. And he said, this woman in this last month, when I feel like getting high, I call her at 3 a.m, and she's there for me. And she talks me out of it. And so I'm making changes. I'm now moving towards a new beginning in my life. So it was this beautiful conversation that we had. You know, the divine feminine doesn't ask us to be soft. It asks us to be honest. It asks us to just listen. He was listening to some inner guidance that told him, get out of Texas. He said, I'm 42 years old. I've been in Texas all those years, and I was in prison for 13 years there, and now I'm here. He was listening. He was listening to something greater within him, and he was receptive to the help, and it just kept showing up. This woman, he said, I don't know, this woman is now in my life. I can call her anytime I need her. And now I'm going to be in rehab. There she is. She's calling us now. She gets all over the place. So the holy womb is holding him. She's holding him. She's holding all of us as we try to navigate and do this thing called life. Yeah? Carl Jung, he talked about the hieros gamos. Hieros gamos means sacred marriage. The hieros gamos is the ritual union of opposites, the blending of male and female, light and dark, spirit and matter, conscious and unconscious. It is the union through which transformation occurs. We need both. We need both the divine masculine and the divine feminine in order for true transformation to take place. You know, here's this man, I don't know if I mentioned his name, Charlie. Same name as my cat. You know, his transformation didn't happen in a yoga studio. It didn't happen at a meditation retreat. And likely, he has never uttered the words divine feminine in his life. But it's what is being expressed through him. It shows up in ways we don't expect. You know, we've all been so trained so well to operate more from the masculine. Have you noticed that? Achieving, pushing, striving, constantly. What's next? What are my goals? I mean, goals are important, I know. But that pushing. Even in retirement, how many of you are retired and you're still pushing yourself? Yeah? And so the masculine energy has a place in our life. I'm not saying it doesn't. But it's about finding balance, finding that sacred union, that sacred marriage. And to develop a relationship with both and to notice within ourselves, where am I out of balance? Am I more out of balance on the divine feminine side, or am I more out of balance on the divine masculine side? You know, less pushing and more allowing, more opening. Less striving and more opening and allowing. Less fear and resistance and more trust. More trust. So the divine feminine lives within all of us. She's not waiting for you to be more spiritual. She's not waiting for you to be more healed. She's not waiting for you to be more ready. She's been here all along. And so awakening to her looks like trusting your intuition more. Trusting it. Do you know that when the intuition comes and we dismiss it, oh, that's probably nothing. Trusting it. It looks like receiving. Receiving. You know, I stayed with a girlfriend in Sedona, And I kept trying to give her, like, can I pay for something? No. She wouldn't let me pay for anything. I mean, it was sweet. It was a gift. But after a while, receiving. We want to give, but we also want to receive. Allowing ourselves to be held by the universe. Allowing ourselves to just be held and to be guided and to be supported. Holding space for ourselves, holding space for another. Just being present. We don't always have to say the right words. We don't always have to fix what's happening in our life or what's happening in someone else's life. Just be present. Just be present and trust. Extending a hand when someone is in need. Don't say anything, just extend your hand. That's the divine feminine. Awakening looks like opening your heart with tremendous compassion, grace, forgiveness. Spending more time connecting to your inner world, maybe more today than you did yesterday. Saying yes to rest as a spiritual practice. Yes? Yes. Celebrating naps. More napping in our future. I took a 2-hour nap yesterday. Boy, was that amazing. Choosing a new way of being. And just like Charlie, sometimes we have to choose a new beginning. A new beginning. So what part of your own divine feminine have you been suppressing? Suppressing. And what is one small way that you can honor that in your life this week? Ernest Holmes, he talked about the kingdom of heaven being within all of us. And I think that kingdom that he's referring to is a state of consciousness that contains the divine feminine, this beautiful, receptive, and loving energy. And we can step into that kingdom in any moment. Any moment. And when we awaken to the divine and we allow the divine to also be alongside the divine masculine, there is an experience of wholeness that is possible for all of us. So to every person, every being here today, the divine feminine is the ground beneath your feet. Feel that for a moment. It's the ground beneath your feet. She is the law. She is the holy womb. She answers every prayer, every prayer. She is the love that never lets you go. She is the gentle whisper guiding you in your life. She has been holding you since before you were born. She is holding you right now. So today we don't just remember our mothers, we awaken to the divine mother. And in so doing, we come home. We come home. So I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. I'm going to close this out with a prayer. There is one life, one presence, one power. This creative, receptive, infinitely loving presence. We call it the Divine Mother. We call her Sophia. We call her the sacred womb of all that is. And we just allow it. We allow it into our being, into our heart. And we just receive. She is not far from any of us. She is the ground we stand on and the breath in our lungs. She is the love that formed us and the wisdom that sustains us. She withholds nothing. She judges no one. She is eternally and forever giving. In this moment, we open to her. We release the striving. We release the pushing. We release the need to achieve in every moment. We release perfection. And we just allow ourselves to be held, allow ourselves to receive. And so I declare in this moment that every person here is remembering their wholeness, their wisdom, their own sacred worth. The divine feminine is awake in us. She has always been awake in us. And so I declare right here, right now, that we are entering a new time, a new beginning, as we allow the sacred divine feminine to awaken even more within us. We are entering the kingdom as whole beings filled with light and with love and with peace, fully embodying both the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and entering a new chapter for ourselves and for all beings. We are home. We are held. And so it is.